So tonight, I just wanted to share on the panel. I've been teaching in BPS for 7 years, but I've been in 5 schools. Um, I've also got to campaign for BTU election, so I visited a lot of schools, and I got a chance to see a lot of the disparity and just racial line in Boston. You know how they say if you want to see the moral, fabric or moral fiber of a city, look at its budget. But I say go to its schools. Um, really, just go to the different schools and see what is there. What do the facilities look like? How many teachers are there? What does lunch or recess look like? So I wanted to know like how real I wanted to get tonight, and like and just really talk to you. I didn't know how real I wanted to get, but I'm gonna just let my emotions let the spirit lead me. Because like when I really think about it, BPS is not child centered for Black and Brown students. There's a saying called the haves and the have-nots, but I feel like for school it's a little different. It'd be more of the haves and the always will have, right? They're the schools that have the things that we're fighting for and always will have the things that we're fighting for. So there are schools that will always have, water fountains where the kids can just easily drink. They don't have to get a cup or go to and fill it up and make a mess on the floor, right? There are schools that have and always will have paras, right? There are schools that have and will always have language teachers, right? There are schools that will always have PE teachers, climbing walls, right? No, not just climbing walls, but gyms themselves, so students can actually have PE, right? Camps, Boy Scouts, football, baseball teams, basketball teams. There's schools that always had and will always have, right? Nurses, right? So, like, I wanted to share a little couple things. I can share you long stories, but I just wanted to share things that have been said to me and that changed my mentality. So, I always felt like you had to be like a really strict teacher and that you always had to like have your kids in line. They never spoke up. They never, like every time a principal walked in, everyone was focused on you and doing exactly what you said. But I felt like I used to teach at a private school, right? It was all white, maybe a few, maybe 4 or 5 Black students, and then that pressure was never there. So one day I started thinking like, why do I act like that in urban schools and in urban environments, right? So I was like, I have to admit that my students have souls and are humans and want to do good, want to learn, want to please their teacher, want to please their parents. So I moved from like a strict disciplinarian kind of person to like a more incentives based, a more like loving kind of community kind of classroom where we helped each other and we celebrated each other's success and we clapped for each other and we spoke life into each other in our circle time. And I would have a time where we would look at each other and be like, you know what I saw? I would have students tell each other like, your handwriting wasn't that great before, but I've seen it improve, or your artistic ability and your math ability, and like to speak life into each other. And a lot of times the students just end up crying, right? But I've never seen this celebrated. I've seen principals in there. I've seen all types of people. I've never heard one person say that that's a great thing, right? But they ask about my data or my wall or my bulletin board all the time, right? So it just shows that these are not child-centered kind of schools. So I've also been told that incentives are bad, right? That incentives are bad. When all of us live in a world that is surrounded by incentives, why we do things, why we go to work. Why, like if you were in sales, you have sales goals and you get bonuses for how much you sell, and like all types of incentives are all over the world. I remember during the recession, there was a big thing over millionaire bonuses for people making $500,000 a year, that they needed those bonuses to keep them. But if I do incentives for Black and Brown children, I'm hurting them, or I'm not forcing them to have some sort of intrinsic value. The 7-year-old should have some sort of intrinsic value to work hard. So I felt like that was one of those things. This one's a little different. I remember because of the background of like where I learned about urban teaching, like I think I was very hard on my female Black students about, I'd have a thing like no neck zone, or don't talk back to me, or keep your hand down. And I remember someone just passively said, why? Why do I have that? And it really made me think in myself that I was crushing future Black women. I was making them more passive. I was making them feel like ashamed for speaking out or being themselves. If they feel like they want to be assertive and have their voice being heard, I should make an environment that's safe for them. So I and myself had to, in a way, repent and change my ways of what some would say like white supremacy or society has done to my mind in viewing black women. And I had to change the whole way that I viewed them and that I allowed them to operate in my class. If you walk in, there might be a young black lady, a young Hispanic lady, with her hand in my face telling me she doesn't like what I'm doing. And I have to find a way to work with her, not crush her. And right, or to coach her, like, okay, yes, you don't need to call me an idiot. You could very nicely come up and say, like, Mr. Richards, I'd rather do this. So why don't you go back and advocate for yourself? I should celebrate the fact that she wants to advocate. I should celebrate the fact that she wants to change what she wants to do. So that's even in myself. Me as a black male, things I had to change about myself in my classroom. And then this is the last story I want to leave you with. I'm a big, you can ask anyone's ever talked to me, field trip person. I'm a big event person, or bring an ice cream truck to the school kind of person. I want kids to love where they go to school. I want kids to enjoy and have a positive feeling and note in their head on the school building that they spend 7 to 8 hours a day in, right? Depending on how long your bus duty is. So I really want them. So one time I went to see Aladdin, and I thought this was a great community event because, most parents saw Aladdin when they were young, and now they brought out a live action one. So their kids and themselves, they can see it. We even did activities around comparing the two movies, comparing the actual story. We did all types of projects around it. And then I think it was from kindergarten to fourth grade at the school I was teaching at, we went to see the program. And I will say the principal at the time, he was not supportive of it. He said, I'll let you do it, but I'm not going to help you plan. Because he didn't feel like it was standards based. But even though I showed him all the ways I made it standards based, even though I honestly feel like as a school you should be able to have moments of joy. But when I went the day before and I bought my tickets, so like two separate things happened at once. First of all, when I showed up, there was already a school that was majority white that was there, and the principal had brought the whole school and was paying for it out of pocket, out of the school's budget. He had a check. And I asked him about that. He said, yeah, we have money set aside for moments like these where parents and students can get together. And that just blew my mind that he had that money laying around when I had to raise money, get parents to give me money, all types of things just to get these kids to a movie theater in Boston. Ask AMC for a discount, all types of work to get that going. And I just want to wrap up with this. They actually ended up giving our movie theater away to that school. And I was trying to be real professional, but I was lucky that a lot of moms had come and dads had come on this trip. They were like, Mr. Richards, move. You being too nice. You trying to keep your job. They went off on the on the movie person. We got free popcorn, free slushies, free for everybody. It was one of the best days the kids ever had in a movie. They enjoyed the movie. They enjoyed everything, and the parents were really thankful. It was a great moment. And I just wanted to share that when you're child-centered around black and brown people, you can create a community. You can create a school. You can empower black women. You can use incentives to inspire them. And you can just really, as a human, build them up to advocate for themselves and to feel special on where they are. And then also that breeds in them that they should feel respected and special wherever they are and not feel like they just have to be there. So that's my big thing. I hope it all came together. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Joel. Much appreciated. For folks who